sucks.
Yeah, learning sucks,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
learning feels like you know nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in this crazy way. That is kind of what it is.
That is the hardest form of learning. I mean, there's like some easier learning kind of like.
But you want to know, like, I feel as we get older,
Yeah.
man, there's this weird thing that happens where like we start getting dissuaded from learning through life. Like through life experience, you start kind of like shying away from wanting to be a noob at something. It's like you're just like, I don't want to be vulnerable. So you don't want to expose yourself to being the noob, you know? But yet when you're a kid, when you're at your
Yeah.
youngest, that doesn't exist in a kid. Like when you learn, as silly as this sounds, like when a baby learns how to walk,
Yeah.
dude, like the baby gets up the first time. I don't know, I've never seen a baby's first steps, but I'm just going to assume this is how it happens. Baby is crawling and decides, you know what? I'm going to get on my 2 feet like the rest of these humans. Gets on their 2 feet and kind of like falls over. Like, does the parents say, like, stop what you're doing? Like, you're never going to be good at this? Like, no, they're just like, oh, they're learning how to walk. And then the kid eventually like keeps stumbling upon and then eventually learns how to use their legs type thing. But bro, that whole, that storyline,
Yeah.
like right now,
Yeah.
we don't talk to each other like that. Like the guy who shows up for the second, third class, we're not like, bro, yeah, you fell down and like eventually you'll get it. Like you'll learn how to walk with time. Like you're just gonna keep falling on your face a few times and then eventually you'll learn how to walk. It might take you a couple of years, kind of like the baby.
Yeah.
But you'll get there. But we don't talk to each other like that. That feeling of being exposed and vulnerable and not being good at something, as you get older, it's like you shy away from that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does make sense because we're supposed to be making money. Like you don't give money. You don't give the amount of money that we want to make to someone who's just learning something. You want to give money to the person who's an expert. So we all have to come off as the expert of our field. We're not learning. We know what we're doing. That's why you're paying me the amount that I'm asking. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like
there's like that starts to be ingrained.
That's why it feels. Yeah, that's why it feels vulnerable.
Yeah.
But you almost have to learn outside of your. You have to learn in private. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna like move up to the next level in your career or something, or you need to. Yeah, I don't know, bro.
There's something odd happening there, where, yeah, like we want to learn in private. We want to, sometimes I have some people come in here, and it's like their first week or their second week, and they're like, hey, like, do you do privates? And literally, dude,
Yeah.
It's their first week, and I always tell them, I was like, yeah, we could do that, but honestly, like, you want my honest opinion, like, your quickest way to learn is going to be within the community. Now, I know some instructors might jump at the chance of like getting a private, but my goal in my mind is that you get good at jiu-jitsu. Can a private help like kind of like streamline some of that process? Yes, but honestly, the best thing is to be in the room with everybody else and see like the people who are good, the people who are not so good, the people like you're starting out with your cohort, making those friends, making those relationships. Like it's not going to happen when
the
you're
community
one-on-one.
is huge. Like
it takes a village.
Yeah.
Dude, that's this story. No, what is that story?
It takes a village to raise a child.
There we go. It also takes a village to raise a blue belt. I really believe that.
In the recovery community, we say throw yourself in the middle, meaning like surround yourself with other people who are doing the same thing as you.
Amazing.
Because if you just stay around the edge, if you fall off, no one's going to catch you.
Oh my God.
No one's going to know you're gone. Because you didn't make friends.
Yeah.
Throw yourself in the middle of the community.
Dude, that's probably the most powerful white belt advice that we can ever give. I'm not kidding. And it's advice that I give to all the white belts. I literally give them this advice. I say, hey, I think I've said this before. You want to know the secret to lasting in this sport? It's 3 things. You got to show up consistently at the cadence that you decide. Do you have time to train 2 or 3 times a week? Yes, that is an unnegotiable. You must be here 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Whether you want to, whether you don't want to, that's out of question. It's you're showing up. That's one. Part 2, make friends. I'm like, the quicker you can make friends and make this place like a happy place for you, where you're part of the community, you're like, oh, I'm going to train jiu-jitsu, but I'm also excited to see my friend Abby, to see my friend Max. Like, as soon as you can incorporate into the community, the likelihood of you sticking around. And bro, if you think about it, the guys who really last, how quick, dude, really think about this. How quickly do they integrate into the community?
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
And you're like,
that's very true.
It's crazy to what extent. Those guys who and girls that come in here and integrate quickly where they're already part of the conversation and you're like, what's your name? And they're like, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, you're awesome. Like, those guys end up being the guys that just go through it.
Yeah.
So far, that's been the experience.
No, that's true. There are some quiet people that make it. I have like one girl in my mind that such a mystery to me. That girl. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about.
Let me process this.
She comes here like, I think she's been coming here for like a year or something. Anyways, look, I've been a social outcast for a long time. If you have a hard time making friends, just show up. Showing up is good enough. I'm just saying that for the loser loner out there who wants to.
There's no loser loner. It's just that they're
the loner. You're not a loser if you're a loner, but maybe you feel that way, so that's why I'm saying that. But just show up. We accept you the way you are.
Absolutely.
And I'm just saying that because I relate to that. I had a time in my life where making friends was way over my head. You know, like it wasn't gonna happen. So, anyways, yeah. Did we? I mean, let me ask you this.
Oh, a question.
A question.
Is it a white belt question?
It is a white belt. What would you teach that white belt in a private? That brand new white belt?
Escapes. It's the most common thing. It's like you say to yourself, oh, let me teach. Like, again, the question is, what do you teach like a brand new white belt right out of the gates? Dude, we just finished saying before, you're going to be the nail.
Yeah.
You're going to always be the nail. I show you a submission. What are the odds you're ever going to be in that position? 0. You know, unless you're going against someone else and you're just physically better, like stronger or whatever. But it's a waste of time to show you offense, because anybody who's worth their weight and in a role with you is going to put you on the back foot.
You know what would be a great TV show?
Yeah.
You got one coach.
That's my dream, Max. Let me
One
like, can
white,
I wait?
Yeah, go for it.
If we're on the same page, we're
gonna high five, bro.
All right, yes.
Okay.
So 2 coaches.
Yes.
They both get a white belt. They get an undetermined amount of time. Let's say it's like a year. And then we have one coaching strategy. The other guy's coaching. And then at the end of the year, we have them go against each other.
Fuck a year. A year's too long.
A year, whatever. I chose a year. 6 months, 3 months. It could be any timeline. Yeah. Was that your thing?
Yes.
Right here. Watch my pinky. Very good.
Yeah.
Fucking right.
Same. The white belts are same weight.
Yes.
Same.
What if they were twins?
It could be twins.
That would be the best case scenario. The same DNA.
That's like almost.
There's
like
no genetic advantage.
Yeah, true.
We could find that.
Yeah. It's starting to sound like a bit of a freak show, but
dude,
like
that's why the show's gonna sell. It's gonna be a Netflix. It's gonna be amazing.
Twins vs. twins, dude. We're turning blood against each other.
Yes.
Wow.
And they can't talk to each other, but they go home and eat dinner together, and they're always looking each other in the eye, being like, "I wonder what your instructor is teaching you." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't want that. Show.
Because I wonder, bro. Because now it's like a strategy thing. You know, what would you teach a brand new white belt?
This is going to be a very big ego moment for me.
Okay.
I always have felt that if I was in that exact scenario, that I would come up on top. Like I feel so as a white belt. You're not talking to me about brown belts and black.
No, of course
yes,
not.
White belt podcast. You give me a brand new white belt.
Day 1.
Oh, what you're asking me? What my strategy?
No, I'm saying a day 1 white belt.
Yes, thank you.
He knows nothing.
Nothing. Doesn't even know what jiu-jitsu is.
Yeah.
That guy. You give him to me. I have a very, very strong belief that my white belt at the end of the time frame that we were going to decide on is going to take the other coach's white belt.
You know what else we could do?
I'd love to go tit for tat.
We could actually have they roll on day 1. Then they roll again
Oh,
at 3 months, and then they roll again at like a year or like 9 months or something. You know
that
what I
would be
mean?
incredible.
To see the
Oh
progress.
my God, who wouldn't want to watch that? Our YouTube would blow up. We'd be swimming in internet money.
How much would that cost?
I have no idea. I mean, what do you mean? It's the cost of time, right? Like because now,
No, but it's a it's a production too. You
oh,
got to
the video.
film. Yeah, you got to
I mean, the
film.
first
You
roll
got
is
to
just
edit.
like me and you standing there filming two white belts act like cats
Yeah.
and just kind of like trying to rip each other to shred and not hurt each other. And then the real thing is going to be like the following. I mean, again, assuming that it was you, but I would love it like if it was like another gym or something like that.
Yeah.
We'd be on this team gym, and then it's like following the journey and the mindsets
Yeah.
of like the coach.
It's a
and
lot of
like,
filming and interviewing and then doing
Yeah.
the edit and all that.
yeah, wow, that would be a winner.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the hell do I know, but I would love
Yeah.
to do that.
I think so. Anyway, it's a pipe dream for now.
It is a pipe dream, but one day we can.
Hey
make
guys,
this
this is the White Belts Questions ADHD podcast.
definitely is.
You
ADHD.
never know where it's gonna go.
But that is gonna happen. That two coaches, two guys. Maybe they could be from two different countries, dude.
I mean, how the hell are we gonna
Separated at birth. One way.
because we're doing the twins
Yeah,
thing.
we're doing the twins thing.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, I like it.
That would be great.
Yeah. Any other white belt questions?
Dude, this is the most white belt question in the world, dog. And it's one that I wrote down
Wow.
because I think some of these white belts need to hear this.
Let's do it.
I'm going to ask it to you as a question, okay?
I'm in.
When you are at the drilling portion of the class, right? So typically speaking, jiu-jitsu classes are like this. You show up, you warm up, you drill, you do a situational, and then you spar. Sometimes there's a situational, sometimes there isn't. So my question is, during the drilling portion where you're partnered up with someone and you're learning to do a technique, how much resistance should the what's the name of the guy who's who's not doing the technique but who's having the technique being done on him?
In an instruction context, we call him the UK. So,
The
but
UK.
yes, yeah, like that's it. Like the person in front of the class.
Yeah,
We can use that term, but like it's the person who's having the technique kind of
Done
applied
to
to
him,
them or
yeah.
done to them. Yes.
how much resistance should he be giving his partner?
I mean, none. You know, like you just need to be. This is the what I see is like the biggest. It's actually it borderlines on a pet peeve of mine. Like when the person is a wet noodle, and it's like, dude,
It's so weird, dude.
it's just like I just need you to just stand on your two knees. Like I can't just with one finger push you and you topple over. Like we need a little bit of structure to this story.
I haven't seen that in a while.
Well, you gotta walk around more.
Yeah.
It's every class, you know. So it's just like they're just flopping over. And it's like, hey. And then on the other end, there's the guy who just doesn't want to let you do the technique at all because they're like, no, not even in drilling. I will never be at the, like, I'm never gonna be at the receiving end of anything. So you have to be a good partner. And in order to be a good partner, especially when you're first starting to do a technique that is completely foreign to you and that you've never done before, you don't want to have to think of managing the other guy's energy. They just need to provide the structure. And the structure means like just have a strong-ish base and allow the person to go through the motions. You're not putting any force against the person. You just have a proper structure that is just maintaining you so that the other person can start applying the technique on you. As soon as you start actually using muscle, like gripping things and like saying, hey, bicep, I need you to help me. Hey, lat, like you're not on the right path here. Like take your foot off the gas. Allow the person to first just go through the mechanics of whatever they just finished learning. If you can't allow them to go through the mechanics, how are they ever going to learn that?
Exactly. You know, when I was a fresh white belt and I had that type of behavior, I did that because I felt like I wanted to be competitive. I thought that this was a competitive aspect of the sport, and that drilling, hard training meant hard drilling, and that it was a part of the grind of jiu-jitsu, you know, that we were here to work hard, to train hard, to drill hard, and that's how we were going to get better, but it's not.
No.
When you're drilling technique, just like you said, it's about the mechanics of the move. You have to let your training partner do the move. You guys are learning. Like, guys, by the way, higher belts, that is how we drill moves.
Of course.
We brainstorm, we help each other. It's a back and forth, it's an exchange, it's a team
Effort.
it's a team effort. Learning jiu-jitsu is a team effort. If you're blocking your training partner from doing the move that you guys are both trying to learn, like, you might not know it. And if you don't know it, you got to pass. But you're being a jerk.
You're being a big jerk. You're being a big jerk with a big ego. You know, like,
yeah,
we're, like you said, you're drilling a move. You need the structure. You're the canvas. You're a willing party to the storyline. Like, this is your role right now. Your role right now is to help the other person so that they can go through the moves and learn the mechanics. And obviously, once you guys have the mechanics down packed and everything is flowing, can you say to the person, hey, listen, like, I got it down now. Can you give me a little bit of resistance so that I feel kind of like how I need to, like,
yes,
I don't know, depending on the scenario. And then you can build up. But that's, again, it's a conversation. You're telling the other person, hey, I think I got this. Can you help me and give me a little resistance?
Yeah.
You're not doing this unilateral decision where you're like, all right, you want to do the move? Well, I'm just going to lean back as much as I can. And even though this doesn't even make sense for this move, like, this is going to make your life hell and you're not even going to be able to do the move. And it's like, there's some people like that.
Yeah.
Like, and I catch them sometimes and I'll tell them, I'll be like, hey, you're not being a good drilling partner. And I'll try to reset their belief that they might have around that context. Like you said, this is a team effort.
Yeah.
You know, you both need each other. And in 10 seconds, when you're doing the move, it's the same scenario.
Yeah.
Believe me, you won't be able to learn that.
And if you don't know, you don't know. You know,
Yes.
like, it's okay. If you're watching this podcast now and you and the hat fits, now you know.
Now you know.
Drilling, it's not about winning. It's about learning. And you know what the funny part about that is? In about 25 minutes, you're going to be in a scenario where now you can become, you know, competitive, and you can roll to win, and you can be whatever kind of, you know, obviously you still need to be safe. Like I was going to say, you can be a spaz if you want to be a spaz, but I mean, you can experiment. You can now, you know, be the jerk that you were being. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Within safety. You're 100% right. And it's odd, but I know that, especially for the structural part, the hardest part is kind of figuring out, as a drilling partner, how can you have the right structure so that you don't flop over a little bit too easy. Like, I remember really having a hard time with that.
Me too, bro.
Yeah, like, you don't know how to put your base. You don't know kind of how to, like, maybe even, like, sit down on your ankles, and, like, you just don't know. Like, sometimes you want to be a good partner, but maybe you're just leaning forward because you don't have the flexibility in your quads, and you're just like, hey, dude, I'm sorry. You don't even know. Like, but you just can't kind of sit back on your feet. So now you're in a effed up position where, just because you don't have the flexibility, all of that, you get a pass. You're trying.
Yeah.
But putting strength and not allowing, man, I once met a white belt at another gym. Dude, I'm not joking, Max. I would try to show, I'm showing him. He's asking me a question. I wish I was lying about this story. He asks me a question. Tell him, okay, I'll show you how to do that. And in so doing, as I'm showing him, he is not allowing. Like, when I say not even a little bit, he is giving me full resistance. And then I would tell him, I was like, hey, take a deep breath. Relax, relax, relax. You're super tight. Relax. Hey, over here, relax. And then he would look at me. Then he would relax his body. As soon as I would go to show him the move again, tense up. And then, without even knowing, he starts rolling with me. I'd be like, well, what is happening? I was like, stop. I'm like,
crazy.
Dude, it was that level of crazy. I was like, this is insane. I'm like, I'm trying to show you the move, and you're trying to roll with me, and you forgot that 20 seconds, well, 2 minutes ago, you asked me to explain this to you. I've never seen that level of insane.
You know, another thing when it comes to drilling, if someone is asking you, hey, can you drill this with me? Like, I want to go over this move. I have an idea in my head. I think it can work with my game. Can you drill it with me? They're not looking to roll with you. If you're an experienced jiu-jitsu player, right, you know that there's a counter to every move. You know that a roll can start here and we can end up 4, 5, 6 steps later in a completely different position. That's not why I asked you to drill something with me. I asked you to drill something with me because I wanted to go over a very specific move on a very specific position. If you're changing the scenario so much more, I'm not getting anything from this, and I mean, I don't really want to do it with you. I'm gonna go ask somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, terrible, terrible. But again, we can give it the white belt.
These are white belt things.
Yes.
These are white belt things.
Yes.
Normally, when you get past white belt, you understand the dynamics a bit more.
Yes.
You understand that, like, you know, drilling is important. It's not the competitive aspect. And again, I'll say it again. Every single class you do get to spar. Hold that type of energy for the sparring portion of the class.
You know, Max, there was a member that when I was a white belt, blue belt, she would come here and she was super advanced. And she would always only drill with like 1, 2, maximum 3 people that she already knew who they were. And literally other people would ask her because she was such a high level. So there was always like those eager people would be like, hey, like I heard you're really good type thing. Like you don't want to roll, you want a thing. And she'd just look at them and she'd be like, no. Like straight, but like cold almost. Like, and kind of like this a little bit like, who are you? And no, you know, like, and they'd be like, oh, the way she was shooting people down was brutal. It almost made the 2 or 3 that she did kind of roll and drill with uncomfortable because you were like it was this weird kind of responsibility.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
When I would say like, hey, she's like, I don't care. She's like, I don't trust that person. I don't trust this person. I don't trust that person. Like, I want a partner who during the drilling is just as not responsible. They understand that I want to practice something and I just need them to softly give me the correct reaction so that I can drill. I'm not looking to roll. I'm not looking to get into like this whole scenario. And oddly enough, dude, in a gym full of people, there were very few that were capable of that. And there are black belts here that are in this storyline that you would be like, no.
Yeah.
But white or blue belts that you would be like, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember being like, wow, this is a really valuable lesson. Like, it's not easy to be a good drilling partner. Like
That's true.
To really understand, like, how much do they want from me right now? Like, they don't want Hulk. They don't want Hulk mode, but they also don't want wet noodle.
Yeah.
Just the right level of like pushback and slowness so that they can process things because now they're processing something for the first time because they're trying to figure it out. Like you're allowing them that space.
Exactly.
But to be that conscientious of that scenario, it is honestly a special person that's capable of being that level of drilling partner. And that's not everybody. And I say it's not everybody because in a room full of higher level belts, she knew who those 2 or 3 people were and she would avoid the higher level belts.
I mean, man, you know, in a real toxic gym environment, like, again, I don't want to talk shit about this place, man, but when I first came in, first white belt, there was a lot of higher belts that I didn't trust, man.
Yeah, that's tough.
You know? So I get it, man. You know, like and it was a bit cliquey too. You know, it was a bit, you know, the mats were almost divided. It's like a prison yard. Almost.
Oh my god, prison rules.
Yeah, in an environment like that, I can imagine. You know, you gotta protect yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, you do. You gotta do what's best for you. But like the big kind of like white belt lesson, and Mortaza tends to say this a lot lately at the end of the classes. I don't know if you caught his
Yes,
spiel.
he did it today.
Yeah, match the energy of your partner. And so you're not only learning jujitsu and technique, you're learning how to be mindful. It's like people forget that piece, man. It's like, hey, I don't want to use like the male female thing, but it's like, hey, calm down. You're a 200-pound freaking monster and you're rolling with like a 110-pound girl. If you can't see the disparity and you still
Yeah.
apply your energy the same way, you are really, really lost. Like, there's no other
Yeah.
word for it. You're lost. Or you have some sort of weird preconception or like a crazy belief. There's something really wrong in
Yeah,
that
it could be.
scenario.
And look, I mean, there's no. We all have our character defects, and if that's what you need to learn on the mats is to not be a jerk and to be mindful of the person that's in front of you, you're welcome to come. You are welcome to come and learn it here.
Absolutely.
We're
Everybody
we're
goes through
we're
that.
actually a very chill gym for that.
Agreed.
Like,
Agreed.
there's not a lot of people here now in this group of people who I'm ever afraid that they would rip a submission on me.
Oddly enough, I agree.
And I
It
don't.
was not the same
It
4
wasn't the
years
same when I
ago.
came in.
Yeah, I agree.
And I don't know how it is in other gyms. I mean, I'm sure there's great gyms out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
What do
yeah.
you think Max? What do you think I don't know if the right word is like, what do you think the litmus test is? You know that like weird test of
It's a
like,
fancy word.
I know I was like, is it the right word? But I don't even know exactly. I think it was like anyways.
Are
I'm
we
not
in
even
court
gonna
right
go
now? What's
down.
going on?
Something like that. But it was something to do with like, anyways, God knows. All right. What do you think the test is to know whether or not you are that person where you're kind of like lost spaz?
People don't want to roll with you.
That's
People
agreed.
do not want to roll with you. If you, and man, there has been guys that came to this gym, and it breaks my heart. There's this one guy in particular, sweetest guy. Like, I actually really like this guy, but the way that he rolled with people was kind of mean and bullyish, and it wasn't even his fault. Is that he didn't know enough jujitsu, and he just ended up front headlocking
Ugh,
and
my
holding,
neck hurts thinking of that.
and holding people there for like 3-4 minutes. A lot of times when people were rolling, he would end up sitting on the bench, missing round after round, because nobody wants to roll with someone
Absolutely.
who is a big, strong guy. Good for you. You can use that doing real jujitsu,
Yes.
but instead, you get front headlocked and held down for 3.5 minutes.
Cranking on someone's neck.
And by the way, he's trying to submit you with that, meaning that he's squeezing as hard as he can.
I already know who you're talking
So, yeah, if you want to know if you're that guy, jiu-jitsu is supposed to be fun, right? Someone is supposed to look forward to rolling with you. Your training partners, when they see you across the room, they're supposed to go,
Yes.
let's go, bro.
You're
You know
right,
what I mean?
Dude. You're right.
So yeah, that's I think that's a good litmus test.
Litmus, I think. I'm gonna try and take a stab at what that means. But the other test is, I really believe this, are females who are the best. And let me tell everybody on this podcast the truth about that scenario. The women in a gym, all of them, communicate with each other. Believe me, they practically have sign language between each other, and they're like, hey, is this dude safe to roll with? And if one of them within the community of women that's in your gym puts the X on you, I am telling you, maybe not all the women